Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked during the course of the week and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. First of all, thank you so much for asking so many awesome questions and continuing to support the channel. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps. It really does. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. So, just a quick reminder, if you want a question answered, you want to try and get it to me by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. I normally film the Q&As on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so that's when you want to get the questions for me. Today, I'm actually filming this a little bit late. It's very early on a Friday morning, but this is the exception, not the rule. And nothing's off the table. Just to remind you that nothing is off the table. These Q&A sessions, they live and die by the quality of the questions. I'm very lucky that you guys normally ask some amazing questions, and I don't really read them beforehand. I think that the best way to give you an answer is to be completely spontaneous. So with that in mind, I'm looking at the questions right now, so I'm going to go for it. So without further ado, let's get straight on with today's questions. Okay, so the first question is from Packers, and Packer says, "Hey Craig, love the channel and the reviews you and Ryland do. Thank you very much. I've just got back into Magic after nearly 20 years away. Awesome, that's great to hear. I stopped because I have a tremor disorder, which makes it difficult to do card and coin sleights under stress. Now I'm focusing on mentalism. Okay, I'm thinking about doing an open mic to get some experience. What routines, effects would you recommend for a short set in this sort of environment?" Okay, so you're wanting to keep away from sleights, you're wanting to do mentalism, it's an open mic night, so you're going to have to kind of make it entertaining. I think that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're doing comedy or magic or mentalism. Generally, at every single open mic night I've been to, you got to kind of grab the audience's attention very quickly and try and keep things as snappy as you possibly can. That's very important. But obviously, as you said, we're keeping away from sleights and you want to do mentalism. Okay, let me throw a few things at you and let's see if any of these work. So there is an effect by Bill Abbott called Socks Exchange or something. You can see it on his website. That is, in fact, the video that I put up on Friday, if you haven't seen it, which was like vlogging my road trip over the last few days to Alakazam and the Magic Circle. I actually got some live footage of Mike Davis doing that to open his show. That's a great trick. Because it's a really funny visual. You come out and you've got all these socks and you bring somebody up to come up and help you and they feel like they've got a free choice of sock, and then there's a really nice payoff at the end, and it's designed as a stage piece. It's very quick and you can make it very funny. So I'd say that particular routine, which you can go and look at in the video on Friday, that would be a good one to do. Another good quick mentalism type thing would be Cody's Comedy Book Test. I love Cody's Comedy Book Test. It's a book test, a 3-phase book test, and there's a very killer ending at the end with a dictionary, and he brings out 3 books. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. And it's awesome. It's very easy to do. The end has an element of Wayne's exchange, I think it's called, but using a different word and a specially printed book. It's just a really funny bit, but still mentalism. That works. And talking about Cody, Cody's killer prediction, which is his handling of the invisible deck, but it works by throwing paper balls out into the audience, and different people name like whether they want a red card or a black card, whether they want what value they want, and he shows that the card has been predicted in a jumbo and invisible deck. But then at the very end, all of the the 3 people that have been thrown paper, they open up the paper and the card is written on the 3 pieces of paper. That's killer. So that's a really good one. Going back to Bill Abbott, another really good one that doesn't require sleight of hand is Celebrity Smart Ass. Celebrity Smart Ass is a great version of the baby gag. That's very engaging. You know, you're having them throw cards away and they end up with 1 card, and obviously the celebrity matches. That's a really nice way of doing baby gag. I've done that for years. It works really well. All of these are mentalism style routines, but they also require no sleight of hand. And I think that's the most important thing that we're talking about here. Obviously, I'm telling you routines that I think are quick and visual and entertaining, which I think is important from open mic night. But also, you have to consider your own personality. You have to consider your own performing character. You know, taking Cody's comedy book test, for example, it takes a certain type of character to perform that. So you have to work out what your character is on stage as well. And if you don't know that, you know, an open mic night for sure is a perfect way to work that out. But those 4 routines will give you a good starting point. I'll throw very quickly another one in for you as well. Any version of the tossed out deck would work. The tossed out deck is a really cool routine to do. Again, no sleight of hand. If you are going to do a version of the tossed out deck, I would seriously look into Wayne Dobson's handling. Or Wayne Dobson's presentation of the tossed out deck. Because in my opinion, Wayne changed the game with his presentation of the tossed out deck. Because what it does, the way that Wayne does it, rather than just getting 1 round of applause, he gets 4 or 5 rounds of applause, and each round builds to a crescendo just by tweaking one small thing in the presentation. So if you haven't seen Wayne's approach to the tossed out deck, check it out. And while we're at it, Illusionist have just bought this thing out by Mark Lemon, called To The Point, which is a point book. Now, what a point book is it's a book basically full of images, and it's designed for travelers to different countries. And the whole idea is, if you're traveling to a different country, and let's say you need to know where the toilets are, you open your book, you find a picture of toilets, and you point. And then the person that you're pointing to can tell you, you know, point to where the toilets are. And it is actually a thing, it's called a point book. Well, Illusionist have created a really nice version of a point book that works as a tossed out deck. So now you can take this book, you can have it examined, you can throw it out in the audience, and you can have different people open up and look at different pictures. And there's hundreds of pictures in this book, and then you can tell them the pictures they're thinking of. It works a bit like a tossed out deck, but it's a book full of pictures. So if you are looking into tossed out deck, that is a completely self-working way of doing it. It's called To The Point by Mark Lemon. It's an Illusionist item, but because Illusionists put their stuff through Murphy's, it's available from pretty much all good magic dealers. So that is a great place to start. There's lots of other routines. If you want more, please let me know, and I'll follow this up on another Q&A. But if it's an open mic night, make it visual. Not visual, it's mentalism. But, you know, make it quick, make it engaging, and make it interesting. You know, you don't want to do long, drawn-out Q&A sessions that take 25 minutes. You're going to lose the audience. Okay, so the next question is from Antonio Diaz Ballesteros. And Antonio says, hey, Craig, great Q&A. 2 questions. We'll do the first one first. I love the card in the box routine, especially because it can be done everywhere with any deck. So I want to ask, what are the alternative endings you can do when you don't have the nest of wallets on me? Okay. Well, I don't use the nest of wallets in my card in the box routine. A lot of the time, if I do card in the box, I'll just do card in the box, right? So I'll just do a version of card in the box, and I'll finish off with the deck going into the box. For many, many years, and I still do this sometimes, I've finished off with card in wallet. So I get the card, because my routine goes, the card goes into, first of all, I find the card, then it goes into the box, then it goes into the box again. Then the deck goes under the box, then the card goes into the box, then the deck goes into the box. And then what I'd do after that is I'd finish off by having the card go into the wallet. I have tried lots and lots of other methods as well. I've had it go into, where have I had it go? I've had it go into the, what do you call it? Oh my gosh, a phone. So I've used card to phone, and I've handed my phone out at the beginning of the set, and I've said, hey, I need to get back to that. Can you hold on to it for me? The reason I'm asking you to hold on to this is that way I've got a captive audience. Hopefully you're not going to run away. I do card in the box, and then after card in the box, and then say, hey, but you've been holding on to my phone the whole time. And I pull their card out of their phone, and that was a really good way to do it. I did that for a long time. I've also done card in ring box. or card in box, mystery box, and I've tried baffling blocks, the Lego one by Prop Dog, the original mystery box, clarity box by David Regal, the Tommy Wonder ring box. In fact, there's a video of me doing that with card in the box. If you look at the first episode of the review show Revisited, the playlist is in the thing. You'll see me doing card in the box with a ring box, so you can check that out. The way that I'm doing it now is something that I'm really happy with. So what I'm doing now at the end of my card to box is, at the beginning, I borrow a cup. Now it can be a ceramic cup if I'm at a gig where they've got coffee cups or whatever. But a lot of the time, if I'm in a coffee shop or something, or if I'm somewhere where they've got takeaway cups, I'll borrow a takeaway cup. You know, just like the sort of thing you get in Starbucks. And I take a folded up card out of my pocket and I just drop it in the cup, and I put it, and I show everyone that it genuinely is in there, and I put the cup away, like all the way away, and I have somebody in the audience look at the cup and watch it and make sure I don't go anywhere near it. I then do card in the box, or whatever routine I want to do, but a lot of the time with me it is card in the box. And then at the end, just because the nice thing about card in the box is when the deck goes into the box at the end, they think that's the end of the trick. And so I play up that that's the end of the trick, and then I say, of course, do you remember what I did when I first came out? I put I put a playing card folded up inside that cup, and then I take the cup at the tips of my fingers and I bring it over and I hand it to the person. They tip the card out that's been there the whole time. They open it and it's their signed card. It is like the most organic version of a mystery box ever. And it's really, really strong, and it plays just like that. So that is something that I taught on my Penguin Live lecture. So when my Penguin Live lecture comes out, that technique is taught on there. That's the very first time I actually taught it. So that's my go-to at the moment, because it's impromptu. I can just borrow a cup, any type of cup, and I can just drop that card in. I can leave it miles out the way, and I can go into it and do this like anytime, anywhere. So it's a really cool way of ending card in the box. Realistically, you can end it any way you want to. Wherever the card goes at the end, it's totally up to you. You know, there's a million card to impossible locations. Like I said, you could just end with the deck going into the box. But realistically, you can have it go anywhere, into a pocket, into a phone, whatever you want. Use your imagination. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so the next question is from Stuart Etheridge. How you doing, Stuart? Hope you're well. Hey, Craig, awesome video as always. Totally addicted to your channel. Thank you, man. Super new to Magic. Probably too old of a dog to be learning new tricks, but so far really enjoying the challenge. You're never too old, trust me. Anyway, I have predominantly focused on card magic so far, but I'd like to try some coin magic. I really have no idea where to start. What would you suggest? Keep up the amazing work. And next year at Blackpool, I maybe even get enough courage to say hi. Please say hi. Please say hi. Right, coin magic. Right, so without wanting to pimp my own products out, I would seriously consider going for the Netrix when it launches. And the reason is, very, very simply, it launches with 100 routines. We're adding new routines every fortnight. There's going to be something like 10 routines added every month, 5 routines added every fortnight. There's a ton of coin material on there, but there's also one of the most in-depth coin sleight sections you could possibly ever see. There's, I think, about 15 different ways to conceal a coin. There's like 15 different ways to vanish a coin. There's utility concealments, there's utility sleights, there's click passes, there's advanced sleight, there's everything, all broken down in the sleight section. And all of the coin routines have a difficulty rating from 1 to 5. And you see in the overview, when you're looking at the landing page for each trick, when you're looking at the trailer, it tells you the sleights that you need to learn. So you can pick the coin magic that you think fits your level, you know, so you can go right from the very beginning. I think that, and you can learn all of the sleights as well. I think Netrix is one of the best ways to learn anything new, but that's just me being biased. Outside of that, I've mentioned it before on the channel, I'll mention it again. The Metal series is a good place to go. Erik Jones is a god when it comes to coin magic, like literally a god. And the Metal series is amazing. You can get it from Illusionist. There's 4 videos, I think, at this point, and they go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and they, you know, become more increasingly difficult with each video. Also, the New York coin guys bought out a set of 16 DVDs. That was Jeff Latter, David Roth, Michael Rubenstein, and Mike Gallo. Yeah, Mike Gallo. And those DVDs are amazing, and they're on different subjects. So there's one on coins across, for example. There's one on copper silver. That's a good place to start. That's really, really good. Those are really the 3 best places, I would say, to look into coin magic. Oh, I'll give you another one as well. I'm so sorry. How can I forget this? I've done 2 Alakazam academies specifically on coin magic. One is a beginner, one is an intermediate. And the beginner one was me basically assuming that people have very little knowledge of coin magic and basically guiding them through the process of learning how to do coin magic. So I teach probably, I think, about 12 routines on there. A lot of them are really easy routines that don't require much sleight of hand. And then as we get towards the end of the beginner one, I go into more, slightly difficult, not difficult, but slightly more advanced techniques. And then in the intermediate, we build on that. So I'm really proud of what we did with the Alakazam Coin Magic Academies. I thought they were really good. And both of those are available to, to download or whatever. So you can get those from Alakazam, and you don't even need to wait them to be shipped because it's a digital product. So both of those are really good as well. And it was my attempt to put together a course specifically for beginners in coin magic, and the reviews were great for both of them. And we're doing another one later on this year on advanced coin magic, so look out for that. But that's what I'd do if I were you. Those are the sources that I go through: Eric Jones, New York Coin Guys, Netrix, or the Alakazam Coin Magic Academies. Okay, so the next question is ZT, and ZT says, once again, quality content from Craig as always. Thank you, man, or lady. May I ask how you deal with situations where you are halfway through the trick and you accidentally flash or fail, and the spectator realizes that? For example, you're doing invisible deck and you're spreading, and somehow the rough and smooth fails you and the wrong face down card appears. The spectator sees it and is expecting it to be their card when it's not. How do you manage the situation as such? Thanks very much. Okay, so that's a really good question, actually. And I did, first of all, I'm going to point you towards a video on the channel. There's a video I did a while ago now, and it was something like how to never screw up a magic trick. And it was all my advice on how to make sure that you never screw up a magic trick, right? But let's just assume you have. Let's just assume that something's gone wrong. How do you deal with the situation? Well, actually, I would say, first of all, practice every routine to make sure that this stuff never happens, right? Practice every routine you do to make sure that none of this stuff ever happens. I personally would never mess up on the invisible deck just because I've done it a million times. Although having said that, it is something that I've done in the past, so I know what you're talking about. But practice beforehand. And the next thing that I would tell you is always have an out. When you're practicing your routines, look at the routine as a whole and write down on a piece of paper all the different ways that you think that trick could go wrong, and then what your solution would be. And the reason is, people just generally don't make very good decisions when they're under stress. When you're under stress, you never make good decisions. So the best way to make a decision is to make that decision when you're not stressed. So in other words, let's use your example as an example. So you're spreading through and you've got the wrong rough and smooth card. You've got the wrong card. The wrong card is being shown. What do you do? So you write that down on a piece of paper. So invisible deck, what can go wrong? Well, the wrong card can show when you're spreading through the deck. What do you do? And then you come up with a solution, right? And you write that down and you come up with as many solutions as you can think of to that problem. Then when you're performing it, if that does happen, you're not going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and wondering what to do. Your mind just goes, oh, don't worry. I've thought about this. I have the solution. I'm going to do this. And you break it down for every single part of every single trick that you do. What happens if you drop the invisible deck on the floor and the cards go everywhere? What are you going to do from that point of view? So doing that is very, very important, right? So with that in mind, let's take your specific example as an example. So the rough and smooth fails you and the wrong card has been shown face down. Now there's two ways that this can go. If the wrong card is being shown, it's either near the card, right? It's either near the card because you've spread through and you've tried to separate and you've separated at the wrong place, in which case their card is probably very, very near, or you're completely in the wrong place. Like you've spread through near the top of the deck and you know that the card is near the bottom of the deck and you completely got it wrong. And the other option is it's on the other side of the deck, but I can't see how you get that wrong. I can't see how you pull the deck out the wrong way, but maybe you have. But let's just go for the first two options first of all. So if it's near, because don't forget, I spread up here, by the way. If you've seen my visible project, I actually spread up here because it makes it easy for me, because when I'm spreading up here, I'm looking directly at the card. So rather than having to think, right, okay, 7 of diamonds, 7 away from 13 is 6. Diamonds is paired with clubs. So I'm looking for the 6 of clubs. All I'm doing is I'm spreading up here. I'm looking for the 7 of diamonds and I separate at that point. So I highly advise you, by the way, to do it up here. And if you haven't seen my visible project, I talk about that on visible. But let's just say, for example, that somehow I've spread either up here or down here and I've got the wrong card, but I know that the other card's nearby, so it's in the same sort of area. What I would do at that point is I would show the face down card, knowing that's the wrong card, and then I'd square up the deck and I'd put the deck on the table. And then I'd give it some time misdirection so they don't really remember what card it's near. And they won't. You spread through and you see it's the wrong face down card, they're not going to clock what the card is next to it. They're just not. But even if they do, you're going to give it some time misdirection now. So you're going to square up the deck and you say, look, I told you there's one face down card in this deck and one card only. Now think about this for a minute. You could have picked any card. You did it in your imagination. You shuffled an invisible deck. You spread the invisible deck out. You took a card. It's not like I could have made you pick one card. Ladies and gentlemen, think about the impossibility about what we have right now. We have a situation where this person over here thought of one card and one card only. They didn't tell anyone. They didn't write it down. And I've shown you that there's one card in this deck facing in the other direction and one card only. This would be a miracle. Let me just take it out. And then I'd pick up the deck. I'd spread through to the correct card. I'd take it out quickly and I'd put the deck down on the table. I'd say, now once more, what was the name of your card? Nailed it, or whatever it is, right? That's the one way you could do it if it's near where the card would be. The second way to do it is if it's completely in a different place, right? I would just take that card down. I would take that card out and I'd own this as a mistake. So let's say the card that you want is at the one end of the deck and you've spread and the rough and smooth has separated it near the top of the deck and you know that that's not their card. I would just put that card on the table and I'd spread the rest of the deck and I'd say, look, there's one card and one card only that's face down. It's the only one, right? It's the only one. It's the only card that's face down. Look, boom, was that your card? And they say no. And you go, oh, I can't believe it. You know, you kind of go into that magician in trouble thing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Is this your card? Were you thinking about this card? I think you were thinking about this card before you thought of the other card, and that's why this has happened. Or somebody else in the audience is thinking of this card. Be honest, who's thinking of it? They're never going to admit it. They're never going to admit it. Look, I'm really sorry. I think that this is what's happened. I think there's somebody else in the audience that was thinking of the card. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like everybody here to stop thinking for a second. We'll try again. Can you do me a favor? Can you just think of your card? Done. And now you spread through and there's another face down card, which would become even more miraculous because a second ago there were no face down cards. Now there's one more face down card and you take it out and it's their card. Okay, so that's another way to do it, kind of go into the magician in trouble scenario, right? So there's lots of different ways to deal with it. If you spread through and if you pick the deck out the wrong way and the card was showing, and you will know immediately when you take the deck out that it's the wrong way. Like you'll know immediately when you take the deck out if it's the wrong way. You'll just know, right? So what I would do that time is I'd own the situation again. I'd say, look, spread through the deck. Don't tell me what the card is, but do you see it? Or they've already told you at this point, don't you? So what was the name of your card? 6 of clubs. Do you see the 6 of clubs in the deck? You do. I'm going to look away. I'm going to spread through. Tell me if you see the 6 of clubs in the deck. You do. Fantastic. And was it facing the right way as all the other cards? Yes. Now put the cards back in the box. I say hold your hand out and I turn the deck over. So it goes back into their hand, but I flip the deck over. Now we do some more time misdirection. Think about the impossibility of this. You saw your card facing the right way as everything else. I'm going to try and imagine making your card turn face down. Go through all of that stuff. And then when you take the cards out, because you flip the deck over, now the deck is turned face down. But because of the time misdirection, they won't know. And now you spread through. And now the card's face down. There's one card face down in the deck. They don't see their card. And the reason is it's their card. The point I'm trying to make here, and I'm sorry I've gone on too long about this, but the point I'm trying to make is you can fix any situation, because generally as a rule, lay people, the audience, spectators, they do not know what the trick is going to be. They don't know what you're going to do before you do it. So you can change the trick up. You know, that's why you don't really, as a rule, tell the spectators or tell the audience what the effect is before you do it, because it allows you to go in a completely different direction. So that gives you a few examples based on what you talked about there. But the key thing then, and the take home that I give from this is think about all of this beforehand. Do your proper preparation and planning. It's that 7 P's, isn't it? Proper preparation and planning prevents piss poor performance. Make sure that you think ahead of time about all of the ways that your tricks can go wrong and then what you can do to fix them if they do. And then you're never going to be in a situation where you're stressed, and so you'll be able to just deal with it really easily. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so the next question is from Sean McNulty Magician, and Sean says, hats off to you, Craig, and what you're doing for the magic community. Thank you, buddy. I have another question for you. Have you thought of doing will to read with an invisible deck? That's an interesting concept. Like visible, you have 2 predictions. Okay, write one on all the reds and the other one on all the blacks. Okay, whatever one you need, just force the color and they can choose any card from that, if that makes sense. Thoughts? I think that's absolutely genius, Sean. I understand exactly what you're talking about here. So you've got the 2 outcomes on the reds and the blacks. Once you know what outcome they're going for, you're just going to do a simple equivoke. So when you get them to name a card, you're going to say, okay, you know, remove the reds or the blacks for me. What have you removed? The blacks. Okay, great. That leaves us with the reds or whatever it is. And then you can have a free choice of any card and boom. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. And that's just not a brilliant idea with will to read. That would actually work with any 2-way out, any trick that requires one of 2 outs, which, so for example, off the top of my head, random happenings. So the nice thing about random happenings is they're going to end up with one of 2 words. So you can do the same thing with random happenings. You know what the 2 force words are. You just write one on the blacks and one on the reds. You give them the piece of paper, you get them to tear it up and tear it up and tear it up and tear it up and tear it up. They're left with a little piece of paper. You tell them to think of a word. They think of a word. You work out what the word is by doing the method in random happenings that I'm not going to go into now. So you know what the word is. So you know if it's on the red cards or the black cards. You say, great, put that in your pocket. We're going to get back to that word in a bit. Let's see if we can do something else. You've been holding a pack of cards there from the very, very beginning, and there's 1 card turned over in that deck, right? There's 1 card and 1 card only, and then go through forcing either the reds or the blacks. And then when you spread through, there's going to be 1 card turned over, and you can show it's their card. And then when you flip that card over, their force word is written on the back of it. Damn, Sean, you're a genius. Why didn't you tell me this before I bought Visible out? That would have been on the project. That's amazing. I love that. That's probably one of the best things that people have told me this year. So yeah, Sean, you're a genius. Let me know in the comments this Q&A. Can I try that, please? Can I give that a go? Because I want to make that up. I think that's brilliant. Well done. Okay, so the next question is Liam Lebanon. How you doing, Liam? Hope you're well. Good to see you back on the channel. Hey, Craig, here's my question. If you were to ever compete in FISM, which category would you choose and which effect would you perform? If I was ever in a situation where I was performing in FISM, I don't think I'd actually be able to make it to the competition because I would be in hospital having my head checked because I'm obviously having some sort of mental breakdown. I'm just not the sort of guy, I'm not a FISM guy, I'm not the sort of guy that would compete at FISM. I did the magic competition thing for many, many years and I did pretty good. I did okay. I won quite a few competitions. I was never one of those guys that won all the competitions or won big. There was always somebody in a competition that would do better than me. I remember, not always, I'm selling myself a little bit short, but a lot of the time, I remember competing at Blackpool. And I think I've told this story, but I don't know. John Vanderput. I thought I'd nailed it. I thought I'd done really well. I thought, right, that's it. And Blackpool, when they had the close-up competitions at Blackpool, it wasn't close-up. It was not close-up. You were performing in front of like 1,000 people or something. It was as far removed from close-up as you can get. And I turned up and I rocked up with my close-up act, and it went well. I really thought I'd done well. And then John Vanderput, before he was picked for the Magic Dragon, way before, when he was just John Vanderput, he rocked up and he made a dog appear. He made a dog appear in a close-up competition. Mr. Piffles, before he became super famous Mr. Piffles, when he was just a dog, he made a dog appear, and I was like, man, well, that's me buggered then, isn't it? And it's probably because I never really put too much effort into my acts, because I always just went and did the stuff that I do in a close-up job, right? And that's probably not the wise thing to do. Anyway, by the by, so in other words, I would never enter FISM. I'd leave that for people like Erik Tait. But which category would I choose and which effect will I perform? I think that when you're entering FISM, they look for technical skill. So I'd probably try and maybe do something that's very technically skillful. For me, that would be coins. I'm much better with coins than I am cards. I'm very creative with cards, but a lot of the stuff that I do is simple or relies on, like audience management or ballsy moves as opposed to technical skill. Or I like doing a lot of self-working stuff. So it'll have to be coins. I'll probably put some sort of coin routine together, a really beautiful, complicated coin routine. Either that, or I'd try and create something that would fool people, or potentially maybe fool people. It'd be going down one of those two routes, and I think I'd go down the close-up route, because even though I love stage, I don't really do anything majorly unique in my stage show. Somebody tried to book me for a gala show for a magic competition, a magic convention the other day, and I was like, there's no point. It's not like I do anything that's different to anyone else. I do it well. Ask anyone who's seen me perform on stage. I do it well, for sure, but it's not like I have original routines that I've written for myself on stage. I do the stuff that everyone else is doing. I just have my own spin and my own take on it. So I don't think I could really bring anything to the table if I was in a stage show, or a stage competition. But if I was in the close-up competition, I'd probably go down the coin route, and at least then I wouldn't look completely shit. But no, there's no way I'd enter FISM. You've got to spend years. Having spoken to people that have done FISM, like Matthew Wright, I know it takes, and Jason Latimer and all these people, I know it takes so many hours of dedication, and they spend years putting their act together. I mean, look at Jason Latimer with his clear cups and ball. If you've got to win, you're going to have to do something really special. And I wouldn't want to enter it unless I was in with a good chance of winning, and I'd never put the time and effort in to create an act like that, because I just know I'd do it at a competition. So I'm not the right person to ever ask about entering or trying to win FISM, because it would never happen. But if I did, I'd probably do coin magic. And by the way, if you ever go to FISM and you see me there and I'm on the bill, just come over to me, slap me around the face as hard as you can, look me dead in the eye and go, what in the hell are you doing? Paul Williams says, love your cups and balls routine, Craig. It is superb, thank you. Do you have any plans to publish it, or do you have a DVD breaking it down? All I can say, Paul, is you might want to be checking out the Coffee, Cups and Beans by Vulpine Studios. Vulpine are coming up with the best cups and balls set you will ever see. Trailers, I think, will be dropping soon. And you just might want to check that, because I know that they've got people that are going to be performing their routines on the project as well, and explaining their routines on the project. So it's not just Adam Wilber and Felix. They're going to have other people explaining their routines. And all I'm saying, I can't give anything away, but if you like my cups and balls routine, and it's been my favorite cups and balls routine for years, if you like that one, you might want to check out the Coffee, Cups and Beans. That's all I'm saying. Brandon Ivy says, hey, your motivational talk last week on the Q&A was amazing. Thank you. Which cube did you use in that? I used to have all of these different wonderful cubes, and I used to buy speed cubes and Guyan Danches and stuff like that. Ryland has all of those now because he is a speed cuber. I'm not a speed cuber. I just can solve a cube. So a lot of the stuff that I do these days, in fact, pretty much anything, I use an RD regular. By Henry Harrius, because it matches everything else that I do. It matches the gimmicks, and I'm just used to the feel of an RD regular. So everything I do these days is an RD regular. If you're wanting to solve the cubes quicker, you might want to go into like a really, really awesome speed cube. Ryland's got some that are just ridiculous, and you see his little hands going, and it's just nuts. But that's not my goal. My goal is to just be able to solve it fast enough to impress people. My average solve time is about 40 seconds, which I'm happy with. I'm never going to try and get it faster than that. I use an RD regular. So hope that helps. Okay, another question from Antonio Diaz Ballesteros, and he says, another question, would you consider doing another magic stuff on 3 tricks with a borrowed phone you've never seen before? It was absolutely amazing, thanks. Oh, thank you, Antonio. I do think that video, if you haven't checked it out, it's in the magic stuff playlist. I did a video probably about 8 or 9 months ago, and it was 3 tricks with a borrowed phone that you've never seen before. And the 3 tricks that I went through on that video are some of the best tricks that you will ever see. I love them. I really do, with a passion, and I think that's one of the best of the 3 trick series I did. Would I do another one? Yes, I'm actually planning a follow-up to that with another 3 tricks with a borrowed mobile phone. So that's coming soon, so look out for it. I don't know when it's going to be here. It's going to be here relatively soon, but yeah, I am going to be doing that. Okay, so the next question is from Sarah Ritterbach. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Sarah. And Sarah says, hi Craig, do you have any recommendations, books, downloads, etc. for impromptu tricks, e.g. a person hands you a random deck of cards? Thank you so much for all the great content, and greetings from Germany. Greetings to Germany, Sarah. Impromptu tricks and tricks with a random pack of cards are 2 completely different things. When I think about impromptu tricks, I think about stuff that I can do impromptu, like anytime, anywhere. Like I'm in a pub or I'm in a bar and I go, hey, pass me that coaster or something like that, right? That's what I think of. I don't think of card tricks as an impromptu trick. When I think about card tricks where they're handing you a deck, I kind of think of card tricks that are considered FASDIU, which means from a shuffled deck in use. Because let's be honest, if somebody hands you a deck and asks you to do a trick, you can do anything as long as it's from a shuffled deck in use, right? So the question is, so let's look at both of them. So impromptu, I really would, if you've never seen any sources for impromptu magic before, I really advise you to check out Off the Cuff by Greg Wilson. Penguin owned the rights to it. You can get it as a download or a DVD from Penguin Magic. It's called Off the Cuff. And he did another one as well called On the Spot. Again by Greg Wilson. Again, I think Penguin owned the rights to that, so you can get it from Penguin. And Off the Cuff and On the Spot are 2 of the best projects you will ever see on impromptu magic. Greg talks about a whole bunch of stuff that you can do anytime, anywhere, just by borrowing coins or with pint glasses and balled up pieces of napkin and a whole bunch of different things. So if you're looking for truly impromptu magic, that would be a really good source to look at. Off the Cuff and On the Spot from Greg Wilson. Both of those are exceptional. As for card tricks that are from a shuffled deck of cards in use, there are so many of them, it's ridiculous. What I would do, I'm sure Cameron Francis had a good selection of tricks. Big Blind Media, I'm sure Big Blind Media shuffled deck. I'm sure Big Blind Media did some stuff on this. Here we go. Big Blind Media. Hey. Any shuffled deck, self-working, impromptu miracles. There you go. This is the ultimate collection of totally impromptu, any shuffled deck in use, self-working card tricks ever. Every routine can do from a shuffled deck with no sleight of hand, no prior setup needed. Someone hands you a deck, you'll be able to fry their minds with 10 incredible self-working miracles. And these are not transparent, underwhelming tricks. We're talking seriously impressive, reputation-making magic. Self-working these routines may be, but they'll make you look like a card ninja. And they are completely correct. It's available as a download, or it is available as a physical product. I can highly recommend it. It is amazing. Okay, so any shuffled deck, self-working miracles, that's what I'd go for. But I was also, that's Liam Montier. I also think that Cameron Francis, let me just search Big Blind Media for you. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys too much. What's this? Is this it? God, this is starting to feel like the podcast where me and Lloyd shut up for 5 minutes and just start searching for stuff. Okay. God, Cameron Francis has got so many tricks, hasn't he? Bloody hell. Okay, is this it? Nope. Got it. Got it. There we go. No. He's got so many tricks. This is ridiculous. I don't know. Okay, hang on. No, that can't be it either. I don't know. It's Cameron Francis. Here we go. There you go. Got it. Ultimate Impromptu Card Magic by Cameron Francis, again from Big Blind Media. Ultimate Impromptu Card Magic by Big Blind Media. A collection of mind-blowing card magic that you can perform with any borrowed deck. No setups, no props, no gaffs. How often has this happened to you? You're at a party and someone comes up and says, "Hey, I hear you're a magician. Can you show me a trick?" And your mind goes blank. You have none of your gear with you. No thumb tips, no sharpies, no gaff decks, no magnetic rings, no nothing. All you have is a deck of cards. What do you do? Well, Cameron Francis has collected together a host of killer routines that you can unleash at a moment's notice. 14 routines, easy to perform, shockingly powerful. Learn these tricks and you'll never be stuck for a spectator frying miracle again. And there's 14 tricks. Zombieland is amazing. I remember Zombieland. That's really, really good. So the Ultimate Impromptu Card Magic by Cameron Francis. Now, both of those that I mentioned to you are available as downloads on Big Blind Media. So hopefully that's exactly what you're looking for. Those are the two that I would recommend for you. Okay, so the next question is from Naptown Illusions. And Naptown says, question of the year right here. If you never picked up magic, Craig, what do you think you'd be doing with your time here on Earth? Magic really changes our lives. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it does, man. It really does. It's a good question as well. I think that I'd probably be doing something marketing related. One day I will tell my whole story. I know on this channel I've told bits and pieces and here and there. But I had my own marketing company for years. I didn't move away from magic, but it went on the back burner for many, many years. And I set up my own marketing company, ironically called Magic Force Promotions. And it was based up in Leeds. And I had that company for many, many years. And I got really ill. To the point that I almost died, and I had to go back. I had to sell my house. I had 2 houses. I had to sell my house up in Leeds and the business. I moved back in with my mum and dad for about 4 months because I couldn't do anything after the operation. I couldn't move, couldn't stand up, couldn't sit up, couldn't do anything. It was horrible. And then that's when I kind of seriously went back into magic while I was really ill. But by the by, you don't need to know that. The point I'm trying to make is it would probably be something to do with marketing or something to do with sales. I love sales and I love marketing and I love teaching people about sales and marketing. One thing that I've done on the Netrix is I've got for a certain level, lots of advice on marketing, lots of advice on sales. My official title in my company is Sales and Marketing Director. And I love nothing more than sitting down and thinking about marketing, thinking about sales. I'll spend hours in front of our CRM. We use Infusionsoft or Keep. And I'll be coming up with weird and wonderful campaigns that are designed to trickle people into our funnel for various different things. So I love marketing. I love sales. I'll happily sit there reading a marketing book. And I talk a lot about marketing and sales. In fact, when I'm in the office, 90% of the time isn't magic. It's me talking marketing, it's talking sales, it's me, teaching the sales team and making sure that they're pushing and they're generating more conversions and so on and so forth. So I think if I never did anything to do with magic, I'd probably have gravitated towards sales and marketing in some capacity, whether it be running my own business or working in some sort of company in the marketing department. I think I'd probably end up in a marketing role. Okay, so the next question is from Sean Goff. How you doing, Sean? By the way, I just saw last night, I just saw a video that you put up on Twitter, and it was amazing. It was awesome, just so you know. Right, I'm not on Twitter very often, but a notification came up, so I clicked on it. It was really good. So you've got a question. Let's have a look at it. What closer would you recommend, or are you currently doing in your kids show? I currently do Dice Bomb, but I use it as a cube to Smarties from a Marvin's Magic Cube set, but I'm looking to change it up. Thanks as always, Craig. Can't wait to Netrix. Okay, so what closer would I recommend in a kids show? It very much depends, and I've gone through so many closers in the past, like literally so many. And I think it very much depends on, I think you have to have more than one closer in your case when you're doing a kids show, because it very much depends on the kids. It depends on the age of the kids. It depends on the age range. It depends on the environment in which you're performing. I've gone to do a kids show and I've literally had no space to be able to do anything, and it's been really frustrating. So I think there's lots of different factors that change up what you can and what you cannot do. For slightly older kids, I love doing cups and balls. I love doing cups and balls because there's so much magic, and you can do stuff like that for kids. Absolutely not a problem. I hear people saying when you do magic for kids, it's got to be self-working it's got to be bright and visual, and don't do adult magic. I completely disagree. I think that when you're performing magic for kids, a lot of the time you can do that stuff. You can do sleight of hand-based magic, and look at the videos Ryland puts on his Instagram channel of performing really cool close-ups magic for 6 and 7 year olds, and he's doing that sort of stuff. So it's absolutely fine. So I do cups and balls. Cups and balls is a closer I use a lot. I also use fiber optics a lot as a closer. That's really good. I've used the egg bag as a closer in kids shows an awful lot. What else have I used? Fiber optics, egg bag. Scott Alexander has this thing with a silk and an apple, where you have a silk and they sign the silk and it goes into the apple, and there's a visual vanish of the silk when you tap it with the wand. And what's nice about Scott's routine, normally when you see silk to apple, you have to get an apple core and you core the apple core out, and once you've cored the apple core out, it goes into the apple core. But Scott Alexander's routine, which was very clever, it's just an apple. You hand an apple to somebody, and then you open up the apple, you cut open the apple, and inside the apple is the silk. I think that's very clever. So all of those work really well. I am very fond for younger kids of Stratosphere. Stratosphere is one that I've always loved. And Keith Fields has a routine that I've closed my kids show with for a long time called the Human Xylophone. And if you've not seen this, it's incredible. Go look it up, Human Xylophone. Basically, you've got these pipes with pieces of string, and you get like 12 kids or something lining up in a line, and each one of them is given one of these pipes that they hold, and you give them all a spoon, and each one of them makes a different noise. You've basically created a human xylophone, right? And it's this really funny routine where you're going to finish off by playing Happy Birthday for the birthday kids. So you're standing behind and you're tapping their heads, and when they tap their heads, they hit the stick. And you always have one adult comes up who does it wrong, and you have to move them to a different point. And it's one of these routines that plays for about 10 minutes, and it's hilarious and it's really funny. But it's a really nice way to end a show because it fills the whole stage, and you're basically getting all these kids to play Happy Birthday to the birthday kids. So if you're doing a birthday party and you're doing a show at a birthday party, the Human Xylophone is absolutely incredible. I know Nemid Phoenix has got one as well, and he does it in his show. And the other thing I'd throw at you is Cody Fisher, and I've mentioned him a few times on this podcast. Sorry, I'm going crazy. I know I've mentioned it a few times on this Q&A. Cody Fisher is amazing, but he has this thing called 3 Kid Monty, which is probably the best way to end a kid show. And 3 Kid Monty is a little bit like Vanishing Bandana in that there's a track that you play, right? And then you listen to the track and you interact with the track. And the track's about 10 minutes long. But it's this game show. You talk about how you've always wanted to be a game show host, and you're going to try and finish off the show by playing a game show with with all of the kids. And then it's got this cheesy game show music. And the whole idea is that you've got 3 colouring books, and you get 3 kids up on stage, and you're getting each one of them to hold a colouring book. And then you're moving them around, right? As you're doing this Monty style routine for the audience. And there's 2 colouring books that are black and white. There's 1 colouring book that's coloured in, and they have to constantly follow the coloured in colouring book, and they always get it right. And the reason they always get it right is because the kids are so easy to tell apart. So you start putting hats on the kids to disguise them, and then you put funny faces on the kids to disguise them, and you put clothes on the kids to disguise them. It's one of these manic routines that you'd expect somebody like Dave Williamson to do that's really, really funny, and you end up with a kicker where all of the books have been coloured in, and there's this whole wonderful thing. It's incredible. Look up 3 Kid Monty. It's not very expensive, and it plays to a massive audience. And all you need in your case is 3 colouring books and a few little props like little wigs or hats or whatever, and you've got this routine that just plays massive. So there you go, Sean. That's hopefully will answer your questions. Those are some of the best closers for a kid show that I know of at the moment. Okay, another question from Sean Garfin. Sean says, I'm looking to get into cube magic. I'm thinking of getting cube 3. What's your thoughts on this, such as quality of it and difficulty, keeping in mind that I'm not very experienced in cube magic? Cube 3 is how I got into cube magic. I did not do cube magic before cube 3. I actually got into cube magic because I bought Rubicon by Greg Wilson, and I accidentally mixed up the cube. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't know how to solve a cube. So I went online, and I found out after a bit of research that cube 3 has a section on it where you learn to solve a cube. And I was like, brilliant, I'll buy that. I'll learn to solve a cube. I'll fix Rubicon, and then I'm sorted. I had no intention of doing any of the cube magic. I just wanted to learn to solve a cube. So I bought cube 3, and I just sat there, and within a couple of days, I think within about 2 or 3 days, I'd learned to solve a cube. And at that point, I was like, brilliant. And I went back to Rubicon. And then about a week later, I was like, I may as well look at what else is on this Cube 3. I looked at it. My mind was blown. The world opened up before me, and I never looked back. And now I don't do Rubicon. Not that it's not good. It's just that I do other stuff. So the point I'm trying to make is it worked for me. I'm sure it'll work for you. Cube 3 is amazing. Stephen Brundwich is a really good teacher. I know there was some controversy, and the Cube guys that are watching this are going to go, what about Takamiza Sui? And I completely agree. The move that's on Cube 3 is just a very slight variation of Takamiza Sui's sort of routine and handling. And realistically, you want to look at the Cube by Takamiza Sui as well. But the question was, you're not experienced at cube magic. What do you want to do in order to become experienced at cube magic, in order to be able to do cube magic? I'm sorry to all the cube nerds that are watching this, and I'm sure I'm going to get ripped into. The answer is not Takamiza Sui's cube. The answer is Cube 3 by Stephen Brundwich, because the teaching is second to none. And Stephen goes through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and it's really good. So if you want to really get good at cube magic, Cube 3. It's what I used. It's what Ryland uses. Okay, so the next question is from Steve Weeks, and Steve said, I would like you to review Max Maven's Prism book, which are the colour series of Mentalism books that were going for insane prices on eBay years ago. Would love to see you demo the best tricks in the book and your thoughts on them in general. Okay, I will. I've got them in my library. Leave it with me. I'll do a 5x5 on them at some point soon. Okay, so the next question is from David Munns, and David says, when will you do a Talk Magic? He's talking very loudly. Interview with Jim Steinmeier. I've been banging on about this for a year and a half. Ryland really should read Hiding the Elephant. Why hasn't he? I can't force Ryland to read what he doesn't want to read. I can't force him. The reason Ryland loves magic is I don't force him in one direction. I help him find his own path. I've got Hiding the Elephant. It's a great book. I've shown it to him. He says, Ryland never says no, but he kind of always looks for an excuse when he doesn't want to do something. Oh yeah, I'll look at it, but I'm currently reading David Roth over here. So let me finish that first. Well, kid, it's going to take a long time to finish David Roth. Or, yeah, I would, but I'm just working on this over here. I'm not going to force him to read a book. Hopefully, over time, he'll realize it's a great book, which it is, and he'll read it. But I'm not going to force him. Why hasn't he? Because he's his own kid, and I'm not going to force him to do something just because I think it's the right thing to do. He has to find his own path. As for Jim Steinmeier, he is on my list. I would love to have him interviewed on the channel. I've answered this question before, and I've told you the same thing. I would love to interview him, and I'm sure it will happen sooner rather than later. He's on my list. I have a whiteboard of people I want to interview, and he is right there at the very top of the list, okay? I can't tell you any more than that. I am working on it. Okay, so the next question is from Sean Undertrack, and Sean says, question, now that you've visited Penguin Magic, which is more impressive, Erik Tait's beard or Nick Lecopa's hair? It's a very good question. I mean, I'm glad that we're finally getting to the real questions right here on Magic TV. I would say Nick Lecopa's hair. That thing is impossible. I don't know how it works. It's the best hair in Magic. I mean, if I had hair, I'd be jealous. I'm jealous of everyone's hair. But specifically, Nick's hair is amazing. Yes, Eric's beard is good, but I've seen other good beards. Nick Popa has got a decent beard, and he works at Penguin Magic. We've got Bo Kramer. I tried to organise at Blackpool a beard-off between Erik Tait and Bo Kramer. Never happened. Murphys versus Penguin in a beard-off. Eric's got a great beard. But there's lots of other people that have got a great beard. I've never seen anyone with hair like Nick before. I have to give the answer to Nick. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, and Adrian says, hi Craig, you often talk about great tricks that are super commercial. What's your criteria for a commercial trick? Well, my criteria for a commercial trick, very, very simply, is something that's practical in the real world, something that will work in the real world, something that does not require tables, something that can happen in the spectator's hands, something that doesn't really have any angle issues, something that's very easy to do from a pocket management point of view, something that will reset easily, something that I don't have to worry about too much. No ridiculously difficult sleight of hand. Something that is examinable. All of these things are very, very important. Now, something can be commercial when it's got some of those points, but not all of them. But if I was going to create the ultimate practical super commercial trick, it would have all of those things. It would be something that hits hard and really hits hard and creates a really big impression. But at the same time, like I say, very easy to reset, no pocket issues, none of that stuff. You can just literally do it and it resets and it's examinable, no angle issues, no problems at all, happens in the spectator's hands. For me, that's what I consider super commercial. Now, that's just my criteria. Somebody who primarily performs on TikTok, they will have a completely different definition of what's super commercial. You have to look at where you perform, you have to look at the environments in which you perform, and you have to say what constitutes commercial to you. Somebody like John Archer, for example, who performs primarily on stage, his definition of super commercial probably would be something that involves something that's practical on stage, that wouldn't require a ridiculously long setup. You know, it very much depends on each individual. But for me, who does a lot of close-up magic, when I talk about a close-up trick being commercial, it's all of those points that I talked about earlier. Okay, so the next question is from George Adcock, and George says, Craig, what are your favourite illusions to perform and to watch? I love all illusions, I really do. My favourite 3 illusions are the Crystal Casket. I just love that visual appearance. For me, it's the equivalent of a deck appearance at the beginning of a close-up set. Just coming out, empty box, boom, there's somebody in it. I think it's a great way to open a show. I also love Split Press by Guy Barrett. It's my favourite illusion. For me, it's my 1,000 timer when it comes to illusion shows. If you haven't seen it, you put a girl in the box, 2 blades go in, you then make her head disappear, her legs disappear, the middle disappear, you show it completely round, and then you bring her back, basically. It's really, really commercial. It can be done on the round, it can be done in any environment. I've done it in the middle of a field and it works brilliantly. It's one of my favourite illusions. And then the other illusion that I do in my show that I love all the time is the Mangler. In fact, the Mangler was one of the reasons I got into illusions, because I saw the Mangler being done. I was like, man, I would love to do that. And the Mangler is, you take a girl, you put her inside a box, you pull a handle. There's an old-fashioned Mangler on the front of the box. You pull a handle and she comes out squashed flat. And then you've got a couple of different options. You show that the box is empty, you wheel her back in and she comes out, or you can take the squashed flat version of them and fire it into a cannon and they're at the back of the room. There's a lot of different ways that you can go. The two illusions that I like watching the best, in my opinion, I'm a big fan of Kaelin and Ginger. And if you've got time, go and watch these three illusions. I think Kaelin and Ginger do everything right. And if you want to see some amazing illusions, go check out Kaelin and Ginger. Specifically, look at their performance of the Wakeling illusion on the, I think it was the Masters of Magic. But any version of their Wakeling illusion is amazing. Look at the Fire Spiker, which again they made famous. That's incredible. And Eclipse, which again they made famous. Eclipse, Fire Spiker, and Wakeling Soaring in Half. All three of those are great. Go check out Kaelin and Ginger. You can go, I did an interview with Mark Kaelin on this channel, so you can go listen to that interview as well. But go check out their stuff on YouTube. It's absolutely amazing. And then finally, go check out the both the audition and the semi-final on Britain's Got Talent of David Penn. Because David Penn did a couple of incredible illusions on Britain's Got Talent, which I absolutely loved. But my favourite one was the second one, which is the water tank, where he drops into the water tank. Basically, him and Karen change places in a water tank. It's really awesome. And I was there when he was rehearsing it, and it looks so good. So go check out David Penn's performances as well. It was a long time ago, so you might not have seen them, but both of those illusions that he does are great. Okay, so the next question is from Lee Milne Magician. Hey Lee, hello again. Last year you spoke about starting a marketing for Magician's channel when you hit 10k subscribers. With Netrix launching soon, will this still happen? Yes. A big aspect of Netrix moving forward once it's launched is the marketing side of things. On the on the silver level, there's so much marketing advice. There really is, like an absolute ton of it. And that's going to be backed up with a YouTube channel that I am starting, and it's going to be all on marketing for performers, not just for magicians. It's going to be marketing for performers and how to actually get more gigs and stuff like that. It's something that I'm really passionate about and something that I think I could offer a lot of advice to people. I'm going to be starting the YouTube channel soon. I need to get Netrix launched, and there's a few other bits and pieces I'm doing, but I've got on my vision board, because I have a vision board, I have on my vision board that by the summer of 2022, I have started a YouTube channel specifically on marketing for performers. So check that out. Okay, so the next question is from Mick, and Mick says, hey Craig, thoughts on Holywood and Poker Test used as one? Basically, Poker Test are the top cards in Holywood, but the setup's in reverse, so face back to blank. Then through deck of cards to mush, them to wood, basically going back in time, printed, no printed, through deck, and then through wood. Oh man, what an amazing idea. What Mick's saying there is there's that routine that we talked about a little while ago, the Poker Test, where you show 4 cards and they change. You show 4 blank cards and then they print. And it's a really nice routine. What he's suggesting is you do Holywood with those on top of the deck. So what he's suggesting is that you show a deck of cards and you take out 4 cards and you show that they're printed, and then boom, you snap your fingers and they go to blank, which is a really good idea. You could create a custom printed deck of them actually, Mick, where, because with the original Poker Test, blank cards with blue backs get printed with red backs. But if you had blue backed, for example, cards that turn blank on the face and on the back, and if you've got Poker Test, that would be fairly easy to put together, then what you could have is you could take the cards out of the deck, leave the deck on the table, show the cards as printed front and back, boom, take them back in time to when they're blank on the front and the back, keep one of them, put the rest away, and then say, we'll take the rest of the deck back in time, but even further back in time, you put one of the cards through the box, boom, snap, and then it's turned into wood. I think that is genius. That's really good. I mean, there's been some really good ideas on this Q&A today. That is exceptional, Mick. Absolutely exceptional. Again, I'm going to ask the same question I asked earlier on. Would you mind me trying that? I'd love to give that a go. That's awesome. Okay, so the final question today has been asked by multiple people, and it is, when is the Netrix launching? I have an official date for you. I'm going to give you an official date right now. Exclusive news for those people that have made it to the end of the Q&A. Netrix is launching on the 3rd of April 2022. I cannot see that there will be any more stoppages. I cannot see that there will be any more issues. I've spent the first 4 months of the year just making sure everything is refined. We're going to be adding more content as we go, but it's ready to launch. Everything's there. 3rd of April. Next week, I'm filming the trailer. That's going to be dropping soon. The full official trailer for Netrix is being filmed next week. It is launching on the 3rd of April. Why the 3rd of April? Well, guys, on the 3rd of April, I will be lecturing and appearing at the Wessex Magic Convention. And I'm going to be there all day. I'm going to be doing a lecture at 4 o'clock. I'm going to be standing around jamming with people. And I thought, why not use that as the official launch for the Netrix? So it is launching on the 3rd of April, and I will be at the Wessex Magic Convention lecturing and chatting and demming and basically just jamming with people. So if you're anywhere near the Wessex Magic Convention, come check it out. It's going to be the place to be. The gala show is incredible. The lineup is incredible. Everything's incredible. But we're launching the Netrix there. And even if you're not at Wessex Magic Convention, it's not a problem because it'll be launching worldwide for everybody. If there's any delays, I'll let you know, but there shouldn't be. 3rd of April, 2022. Get ready. The Netrix is coming. That's one. Right, there is one final question, which is from Adrian Suter. What could a hobbyist show to a pro at a magic convention, given that hobbyists have much less experience and often have little to no original material? Man, anything. I mean, the whole point of a session is it's not so that you can fool the magician that you're performing it for. I just love sessioning. I love watching amateurs and hobbyists, and I always learn something new. Just because you're a professional doesn't mean that you know every single trick under the sun. You might be an amateur or a hobbyist, and you might have read a book that I've never read, and you might show me a trick that I've never seen before. The best thing to do is, if you're at a session, just show people the magic that you enjoy doing. Show people the magic that you enjoy, because then that'll come across. And don't worry too much about magician foolers or anything like that. You know, the whole idea of a session is, hey, let me show you something. Hey, that's a good idea. Let me show you something. Well, you know what? We could combine those two routines together and make it really special, right? So don't worry about fooling people or overthinking, well, what trick should I do or what trick I shouldn't do. Just go out there and just do magic. That's what we all love at the end of the day. So there you go, guys. That is another Q&A in the bag. Thank you so much for joining me right here on Magic TV. This has been an amazing Q&A, and I really appreciate you being here. Don't forget, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Now, I am going to be here tomorrow. I'm going to be back later on today, actually. I'm going to have a shorts at 2, at 6 o'clock at live, and then at 9 o'clock, I'm going to have a review show special. So there's a lot coming up here on Magic TV. Make sure that you stick around and watch all of it, and get your questions in the comments down below. I will be back next Sunday at 12 o'clock with another Q&A where I answer all of your questions. But thank you guys for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.